Ladysmith Black Mambazo, the younger generation of the Ladysmith Black Mambazo Mai Tai ad, just giving us a sneak peek of what you can expect a little bit later on the show. We just thought we should tantalize your taste buds, or your ear buds, I should say, just giving you some of the sounds that you'll be hearing a little bit later. No Matemba Omshela, it just sounds so sad when you sing that song. All right, enough about that. We'll have more of the beautiful sounds of Ladysmith Black Mambazo in just a little while. Let's talk now about matters of connectivity and information. Now, there's no doubt that the number of South Africans who have access to the internet after 1994 has more than doubled. Now, people can access the internet through their smartphones and other devices, but there is still a lot that needs to be done to make sure that the majority of South Africans can access the internet. The gap is still very wide, and that they can make affordable use of the internet. eMbizo Solutions is a company rolling out a high-speed, reliable wireless broadband network. It's based on Wi-Fi, connecting 254 schools in Johannesburg, and the number, it seems, is still growing. With the focus in the underserviced township and rural areas, the company believes that they can really create numerous jobs, economic development opportunities, and provide a platform where education is delivered effectively. Well, in studio now, we're joined by Thabo Malebadi. He's eMbizo Group CEO, to tell us more about the school project as well as his company. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for inviting me over, Ayanda.
You and I were just chatting briefly off air about how access to information is not just a luxury anymore. It's a human rights issue. The United Nations having identified access to information as key in a developing world. What brought the idea for you to start rolling out this project?
As a matter of fact, to actually consider the importance of the internet and how it can actually change the lives of people in your developing countries, it has actually been determined that with broadband penetration increasing, the actual GDP of that particular country increases as well. So that's how significant the access to connectivity is for human lives.
You can tell us a little bit more about eMbizo, some of the work that you do. You mentioned that you're not just focusing on schools, but on the broader community as well. Exactly how does it work?
Well, eMbizo Solutions is actually a combination of numerous years in terms of planning, where we were looking at bridging the digital divide. If you have actually stated the significant gap in the market, where you find that the numbers, yes, access has actually doubled, but in your urban areas predominantly. Still in your underserviced and rural areas, there's still a big gap where you find that the cost of access, for example, 3G is actually too expensive for the people in your rural communities to be able to use and access the internet. So we came up with an alternative, which is Wi-Fi based. In actual fact, we're providing free access to Wi-Fi in your underserviced and rural areas as a base entry-level offering. And we've got affordable packages as well over and above that. For example, for 10 rands, you can get uncapped internet for 24 hours within these areas. That is far more cheaper and affordable as compared to your available services.
So you offer packages to schools, you offer packages to people in remote, far-flung areas as a form of business. Perhaps you do it for a lesser price. How does it work?
Education is actually critical in our strategy. It's actually a priority that we have actually highlighted in our business. And for that matter, what we have actually done is we've been providing schools with free connectivity to the internet, as opposed to a service whereby we charging schools, whereas we know that education is actually one of the major critical factors with regards to the development of a nation.
So it's a double-edged sword in that the school will get the free Wi-Fi, and that you will make your profit by perhaps selling advertising.
Yes, in actual fact, apart from the advertising revenue that we're looking at, within the schools we don't actually do advertising. We advertise on the free Wi-Fi that is available to your general public.
And how do you ensure safety? You were talking about a technical term, content filtering, I think it is, to make sure that the youngsters who do have their tablets or their phones, I'm not sure if they're allowed to take their cell phones to school, but perhaps in the lab where the computer lab, how do you make sure that they don't access undesirable content while they're surfing the net?
Well, in a school environment, it's actually a teacher sort of monitored or controlled environment. So we actually do have content filtering on the system, or end user policies as well that control the content that the learners actually get access to. But as an important factor, what we always do is we monitor the traffic that goes on through our network, and we make sure that the content that the actual individuals, not only in the schools but in the community at large, is actually filtered on the basis of safety of the actual end user.
And how have you measured success of the initiative?
Well, we've actually seen some interesting numbers ever since we started with this network. Initially, when we rolled out the network, we started in Tembisa as a pilot, and in Tembisa alone we've got more than 30 schools connected to the network. We've got around, on average, 3,000 to 4,000 devices, and these are unique devices on a daily basis connecting onto the network, and that's a significant number in that fact. Over and above that, we've actually managed to expand our network through partnership with government into Mpumalanga and Limpopo, where we in total now are talking about 250 schools that you mentioned earlier.
And lastly, is there a spin-off of job creation somehow in this project?
This is actually our drive as well, in the fact that telecommunications as a primary sector needs to be in the hands of the people. We're looking at economic development initiatives where we're looking at your small enterprises in these particular areas owning a portion of the actual project and being able to sell the products. As I mentioned earlier on, there's products that we offer. There are products for household users as well, where there's installation and technical support involved from a customer care point of view. We actually then bring on board your young entrepreneurs to come onto the network and become that particular component in customer service provision.
Very insightful, very informative. Thank you so much again for your time, for joining us at this Good Friday. I hope you're going to have yourself a wonderful Easter weekend and drive safely. Hey? You heard in the news that there have been some crashes already, so do drive safely, and thank you so much again for joining us.
Thank you, Ayanda.